And rapper Lil Durk has been arrested and charged with a murder-for-hire plot. The Chicago native, whose real name is Dirk Banks, was arrested in Florida.
The search is on for 3 people who police say shot at a Savannah rapper, killing a member of his entourage.
Hello everybody, my name's Acheki Ambalwa for Fresh Buzz Friday, and I just got my hands on the criminal complaint for Lil Durk, and I guess this is the document that provided the show and cause for him to be arrested. So this affidavit is by the United States of America against Lil Durk, aka Mustafa Abdul Malak, which is the name he goes by ever since he converted to Islam and started going on this whole positive route. So this document is definitely by an investigator, so we'll be going through it. So the affidavit itself says that I, and the name obviously is redacted, whatever the name of the investigator is, being duly sworn, declare and state as follows. So the purpose of the affidavit, that this affidavit is made in support of a criminal complaint and arrest warrant against Dirk Banks, also known as Lil Durk, aka Mustafa Abdul Malak, for a violation of 18 USC, which is conspiracy to use interstate facilities to commit murder for hire, resulting in death. So basically, Lil Durk is being accused for using interstate facilities to commit murder for hire. So he's basically being accused for putting out a hit on Quando Rondo. The document then goes ahead and says, the facts set forth in this affidavit are based upon my personal observations, my training and experience, and information obtained from various law enforcement personnel and witnesses. So obviously this investigator has witnesses, and I'm guessing this has to be a snitch from OTF. So this affidavit is intended to show merely that there is sufficient probable cause for the requested complaint and warrant, and does not purport to set forth all of my knowledge of or investigation into this matter. So basically the investigator is basically saying that this is just showing probable cause why Lil Durk needs to be arrested, but it is not the entirety of the evidence. Yeah, so unless specifically indicated otherwise, all conversations and statements described in this affidavit are related in substance and in parts only. So the background of the affiant, obviously all this is redacted. All that is redacted. We don't know nothing about it. When we go to part 3, the summary of probable cause. So this is the summary of the probable cause of this affidavit. So the investigator goes to say, Banks is the leader of the Chicago-based rap collective known as Only the Family, or OTF. I'm sure all of you know this. So in addition to OTF's status as a rap collective, I know based on the investigation that OTF also acts as an association in fact of individuals who engage in violence, including murder and assault, at the direction of Banks and to maintain their status in OTF. So I don't know if the investigator is saying that Banks is the head honcho by fact, or it just means that by virtue that he owns OTF, so he's the head honcho, but I don't think it matters at this point. So, for example, based on evidence collected during the investigation, including the interview of witnesses, I know that Banks put a monetary bounty out for an individual with whom Banks was feuding, named TB. So in the entirety of this document, as we go through it, every time you see TB, just know that that is referencing to Quando Rondo. Yeah, as detailed below, on August 19th, 2022, multiple OTF members and associates used 2 vehicles and worked in tandem to track, stalk, and attempt to murder TB at a gas station located in Los Angeles, California. The co-conspirators fired at least 18 rounds at TB's vehicle, striking and killing SR, TB's family member who was traveling with TB. So SR is Quando Rondo's cousin, who was killed in that shootout. The target obviously was Quando Rondo, but SR is the one who ended up dying on that day. So on October 17th, 2024, a grand jury sitting in the Central District of California returned an indictment charging 5 co-conspirators: Kayvon London Grant, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Brian Lindsay, and Asa Houston, with crimes arising from the murder, including murder for hire and conspiracy to commit murder for hire, resulting in death. Right, so there's a separate document for the arrest of these co-conspirators. I've tried to get my hands on it, but I just can't get my hands on it for the life of me, so I'll just ignore it and pretend like it doesn't exist. So Banks is identified as co-conspirator 1 in that document, which is incorporated herein by reference. So everything that is in that document needs to be in this document, so it doesn't matter that much. So based on the investigation and as described below, evidence shows that Banks ordered TB's murder and that the hitmen used Banks and OTF related finances to carry out the murder. For example, bank and flight records show that an OTF member and close associate of Banks, co-conspirator 3, coordinated and paid for Jones, Lindsay, Wilson, Houston, and other OTF members, co-conspirator 2, to travel from Chicago to California on the day before the murder, which is August 18th, 2022. Co-conspirator 3 paid for the flights using a credit card linked to Banks and OTF. Around the time that co-conspirator 3 purchased the co-conspirators' flights to California, iCloud records show that a phone number associated with Lil Durk texted co-conspirator 3, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with me." Basically, we are seeing that co-conspirator 3, which I'm guessing has to be Grant, was using OTF finances to facilitate for flights of these hitmen from Chicago to Los Angeles. And out here they're mentioning that another OTF member, co-conspirator 2. I'm guessing this co-conspirator 2 has to be the snitch, because there has to be a snitch in the crew, because this is just too much information. There has to be a snitch. I'm guessing this co-conspirator 2 is the snitch. And the reason I say that, part of the reason I say that, is that because in this document, there's a footnote that says, due to serious safety concerns, this affidavit does not provide the identity of these witnesses. Based on the FBI's investigation, I know that witnesses and or their family members have already received threats and or have been contacted in what appears to be attempts to influence their participation in this investigation. And so they're saying that they will not name names, but they're going ahead to name Houston, Grant, Dontrell Wilson, Lindsay, but they're not mentioning co-conspirator 3. So I'm guessing this is the snitch. It has to be the snitch. And yeah.
There was a member in Lil Durk's OTF crew by the name of OTF Jam. And this is the person that the feds said wore a wire for several years. He was released from prison in 2022, which is the same year that this murder happened.
As we go back to the document, it says that additionally, on the same day that the hitman traveled to California from Chicago, Banks also traveled to California with another charged co-conspirator. This is Grant, on a private jet. Later that day, Grant purchased ski masks for the shooters to use to commit the murder and paid for the other co-conspirators' hotel rooms using a credit card in Banks' name. So I just don't get this. Maybe it's because I'm African, but I really don't get this. Like, first of all, why are you catching flights like you're using jets to fly across states just to go murder someone? What, for ego? I don't get it. If you understand this, please type in the comments, because I'm from Africa. I'm from Nairobi, Kenya. Like, I've lived here all my life and I do not understand the gang culture, especially when the proponents of this gang culture have so much money, you know. This is Lil Durk. He's out here acting like a fool. I mean, you're booking private jets, booking high-end flights, high-end hotel rooms, just so you could fly across state lines to kill somebody. I just really don't get it. Like, it doesn't make sense. You have money. Why don't you just chill? Like, you've fought to get yourself out the block, and then now that you're out the hood, you're still doing some hood shit, some shit that would land you in, some stuff that would just land you back in prison. I really do not understand this. If it was my mother, she would say that these guys are bewitched. But anyway, it is what it is, I guess. So let's get back to the document. Enough of my rant. So earlier this morning, on October 24th, 2024, federal and local law enforcement executed multiple search warrants at locations associated with OTF members in and around the Chicago area, and arrested Grant, Wilson, Jones, Lindsay, and Houston. After executing the warrants, the FBI learned that Banks had been booked on at least 3 international flights scheduled to leave the United States today. When Banks arrived near one of the departing airports, he was arrested by law enforcement personnel. This is funny. I find this funny because, you see, I love Lil Durk's music, but I just think they're not the smartest guys, you know, because you do all these things, right? And when you're carrying out these murders, you're using your credit cards, your company credit cards, which obviously will attract RICO charges. The feds are watching. And then when you know you're coming to be arrested, you're going to book 3 flights. I think one of the flights was supposed to go to Italy. The other one was going to the United Arab Emirates. And I think the other one was a flight to Switzerland. And Was he thinking it was slick? Because you're not going to trick the feds. Like, they're watching you, they have the resources. So I really don't understand this. Anyway, let's get back to the document. So there's a part in the document that talks about the statement of probable cause. And in here it says, based on my training and experience, my personal involvement in this investigation, conversations with other law enforcement officers, witness statements, and review of reports and other documents prepared by the law enforcement officers, I am aware of the following. A. Chicago-based hitmen traveled to Los Angeles to murder a rival of Banks. On October 17, 2024, a grand jury returned an indictment charging Grant, Wilson, Jones, Lindsay, and Houston with murder for hire and conspiracy to commit murder for hire, resulting in the death of SR. This is Quando Rondo's cousin. Everywhere you hear me talking about SR, just know that we're talking about Quando Rondo's cousin, who was regrettably killed in this whole altercation. So the grand jury also charged Jones with possession of a machine gun in violation of that other law. So as alleged in the indictment, on August 19th, 2022, SR and others, including SR's family member TB, and TB, we are sure this is Quando Rondo. So every time we see TB, he's going to be Quando Rondo. So we'll either see TB or we'll see QR. So a rap artist known as Quando Rondo were near their vehicle at a gas station across from the Beverly Center in Los Angeles when 3 gunmen opened fire at the vehicle, killing SR. Law enforcement personnel subsequently recovered 18 shell casings from the murder scene.
Shots fired, a fight taken to the streets, and this chaotic scene, the ending of a shooting that started in Los Angeles, California. Sheriff's deputies pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV. Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight. It all started at this mobile gas station at 5:30 Friday evening.
At the time of the murder, TB had a public feud with Banks, aka Lil Durk. Banks is a Chicago-based gang member and leader of the rap collective known as Only the Family, or OTF. The feud stemmed from a November 6, 2020 murder where an associate of Quando Rondo shot and killed an OTF rapper named Davon Bennett, aka King Von. Bennett was a member of OTF and Banks' close friend.
Well, it happened early this morning on Trinity Avenue, and tonight at least 3 people are dead.
26-year-old Davon Bennett, also known as rapper King Von, shot and killed after a deadly fight erupted in front of Monaco Hookah Lounge. 2 men approached King Von and his group in the parking lot, and an argument ensued. The argument quickly escalating to a shootout between the 2 groups. Believe it or not, this all playing out right in front of 2 Atlanta police officers.
One of them was actually inside his patrol car, or next to his patrol car with his blue lights on.
APD responding, attempting to stop the shooting, but it was too late. 6 men shot, King Von and 2 others dead, 3 injured and being treated at the hospital.
So this is King Von, and we know how close King Von and Lil Durk were. So this was pretty tough for Lil Durk, and I understand that. This is 2020. After the killing of King Von, everybody online, like it even, I think it went viral. Everybody was like asking, everybody was asking Lil Durk to slide for Von, slide for Von, slide for Von, and I didn't understand it from this side of the world, because as far as I could see, or as far as I could understand, is that King Von started a fight where he ended up being shot to death. So I didn't understand why everybody was like, slide for Von. Like,
this is a lose-lose situation that the fans want to put the rappers in. If they don't do it, we gonna quit listening to you.
You going to
if
jail.
You do it and go to jail, we gonna quit listening to you. Him and Von was partners. He lose Von, then he lose his brother. Do I get to mourn? Can I process my grief? Or do y'all want me to throw my life away so y'all can talk about me even more? I can't win with y'all. I can't win.
Anyway, let's get back to our document. According to open source reporting and witnesses, Banks placed a monetary bounty on TB's life. So basically, he put money on Quando Rondo's head. So based on the investigation to date, including open source research, my training and experience investigating gangs and violent crime, and witness statements, OTF is a hybrid organization that functions as a Banks-led music collective and a gang. Based on the investigation to date, including conversations with other law enforcement agents and witness statements, Houston and Wilson are associated with OTF, and Lindsay and Jones are associated with other gangs in Chicago. So we have a B part to this, where the hitmen travel using funds linked to banks, right? So basically they're saying that these hitmen traveled across states and they were using money that is linked to Lil Durk. And this is where I think Lil Durk is going to be hit with the RICO charge, because if you're using like company money to facilitate these kinds of crimes, then that's a RICO charge and the feds are going to come for you. So I know the following based on my review of LAPD police reports, surveillance footage, bank and flight records, witness statements, and homicide detectives from the LAPD and federal investigators involved in this case. On August 18, 2022, the day before SR's murder, OTF members learned of the location of TB from a long-term OTF affiliate, co-conspirator 4. After OTF members learned this, the following men took a one-way flight from Chicago to San Diego: Jones, Lindsay, Wilson, Houston, and co-conspirator 2. The one-way tickets to San Diego were purchased using an American Express credit card ending in 2039 and in the name of co-conspirator 3, who is also associated with OTF and banks. Based on records from Apple, I know that on the same day, a number ending in 9595, believed to be associated with banks, sent a text message to co-conspirator 3 stating, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with me." So obviously this is Lil Durk texting co-conspirator 3, who I believe has to be his manager, asking him that if he's going to book flights, not to book the flights under no names associated with him, which is really crazy considering they're talking about murder and they're booking flights using company credit cards, but this is what he's worried about. Anyway, okay, let's get back to the document. So based on my review of hotel records, I know that Grant rented and paid for a room at the Sheraton Universal Hotel in Universal City, California on August 18th, 2022 using an American Express card in bank's name ending in 1015. Jones, Lindsay, Wilson, Houston, and co-conspirator 2 stayed at the hotel the night before the co-conspirators tracked, stalked, and attempted to kill Quandorondo. So based on my review of bank records, I know that 2039 and 1015 credit cards were issued under an account belonging to OA and Astronaut Sounds LLC. Based on public information, I know that OA was Banks' manager in or around 2022. Georgia Secretary of State Online Corporation records show that Astronaut Sounds LLC was initially registered by OA in 2017. A request of amendment was filed in 2021 and a new manager, Banks, was added to the business. The bank records also showed that the Astronaut Sounds American Express account had 4 credit cards issued to 4 individuals: Banks, co-conspirator 3, Banks' father DB, and OA. So based on my review of records from a private airplane company, I know that Banks and Grant flew on the same plane from Los Angeles to Miami on August 16th, 2022, and back to Los Angeles on August 18th, 2022, the day before SR's murder. Records from a rental property show that Banks' manager, OA, rented a house in California from July 1st, 2022 to October 1st, 2022. Based on investigators' review of photographs of the interior of the rental, I know that the video footage from an August 18th, 2022 podcast shows the host of the podcast with Banks, wherein Banks appears to be inside the same house. On the day of the murder, this is now August 19th, 2022, surveillance footage shows TB, SR, and others leave the hotel in Los Angeles and enter a black Cadillac Escalade, which is referred to as the Escalade. Surveillance video taken from numerous locations throughout Los Angeles, including TB's hotel and the gas station where the murder occurred, showed that 2 vehicles followed the Escalade for hours leading up to the shooting. One vehicle was a white BMW, murder vehicle 1, and the other one was a white Infiniti, murder vehicle 2. Among other things, surveillance video from the murder scene shows murder vehicle 2 park in an alley behind the gas station, where 3 shooters wearing black masks exit the vehicle, later identified as Jones, Lindsay, and co-conspirator 2, walk to the gas station and then open fire on the Escalade. The shooters then went back to the murder vehicle 2 and drove away. Murder vehicle 1 drove away from the area just minutes before the shooting.
Victim vehicle, they pulled up, they were pumping gas, and it looks like they probably finished pumping gas, and the suspects approached from the alley, got out of the car, and started shooting at those victims.
Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight. LAPD says witnesses heard multiple gunshots, then watched a couple cars zoom off. 3 people in one car shot at this black Cadillac Escalade. It's unclear if those inside shot back. It ended at Santa Monica Boulevard. Deputies found it peppered with bullet holes and a shattered window. One man inside, a member of Rondo's entourage, had been shot. The 23-year-old was taken to the hospital where he died.
Approximately 50 minutes after the shooting, surveillance video from an In-N-Out restaurant in Los Angeles shows Grant, Jones, and Wilson arrive in murder vehicle 1. The video also shows Lindsay and co-conspirator 2 arrive at the In-N-Out in a black SUV. Based on comparison of surveillance video showing the murder to video from the In-N-Out restaurant, law enforcement identified that Lindsay, Jones, and co-conspirator 2 were the individuals who opened fire and killed SR. A few hours after the shooting, Jones, Lindsay, Wilson, Houston, and co-conspirator 2 boarded a flight from San Diego to Chicago. Once again, the credit card in the name of co-conspirator 3 was used to pay for the one-way tickets. Man, these guys are dumb. I'm sorry, but these guys are just dumb, like. I don't know. Anyway, the other part of this document reads, Banks books multiple international flights after law enforcement arrested multiple co-conspirators and executed search warrants at locations associated with OTF members. So I'm guessing this section is the section where we are going to see how Lil Durk was trying to dodge the feds and trying to be smart, right? So the document goes ahead to say, I know the following based on my conversation with other law enforcement agents involved in the investigation and my personal involvement in the investigation. A. In the early hours of October 24th, 2024, a law enforcement arrested Grant, Jones, Lindsay, Wilson, and Houston and executed multiple search warrants in the Chicago area, including a warrant to search the home of co-conspirator 3. Shortly after making these arrests and executing the search warrants on October 24th, the FBI received notifications from U.S. Customs and Border Protection showing that Banks had been booked as a passenger on 2 international flights. One was a one-way flight from Miami to Dubai, United Arab Emirates, connecting through Doha, Qatar, scheduled to depart the evening of October 24th, and 2, a one-way flight from Fort Lauderdale to Switzerland, connecting via New Jersey, also scheduled to depart the evening of October 24th. Banks did not board either flights. At approximately 6:40 p.m., the FBI received an additional Customs Border Patrol notification notifying them that Banks had been booked as a passenger on a private plane departing Miami and destined for Italy, scheduled to depart at approximately 9 p.m. At approximately 8 p.m., Banks was arrested by law enforcement in the vicinity of the departing airport. So this was Lil Durk trying to be smart. So he's booking flights, missing flights, booking flights, missing flights. But he needs to understand that this is a system. Like, there's no way you're beating the system. It's really hard, especially when you're under the watch of the FBI. You're just not making it. The feds are a different breed, man. This is not O Block, man. This is international at this point. So anyway, the document in conclusion goes to say, for all the reasons described above, there is probable cause to believe that Banks violated 18 U.S.C. conspiracy to use interstate facilities to commit murder for hire, resulting in death. So this is attested to by the applicant in accordance with the requirements of Fed R Crime P41 by telephone on 24th day of October 2024. Honorable Stephanie Christensen, United States Magistrate Judge. So she's the judge who signed this indictment order. Yeah. So yeah, this. So I love Lil Durk's music. I think he's dope. I mean, he won a Grammy. He's one of the best, right? Just the same way I used to love King Von's music. But I think what these guys are doing at this point is just stupid. And I think the public is also responsible for all these murders, because King Von was killed and the public was like, this went viral. Everybody was like, you need to slide for Von, you need to slide for Von. And I guess Lil Durk slid for Von, even though he hired hitmen, but he did slide for Von. So everybody, when you see online that Lil Durk has been arrested, everybody's like, yo, he's being stupid. I can't have that much money and act stupid. Nah, you guys wanted him to slide for Von. He slid for Von. So you should be congratulating him. And just like that, we have another superstar behind bars. I guess Diddy's gonna be happy to see this nigga. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it has been Cheki Ambalo for Fresh Buzz Friday. See you next time.